California Assembly Bill 5, changes to the labor code here in 2020. How does that affect your small business? Hi, my name's David. I'm an independent director of photography. I shoot business videos and some traditional media content for my clients. I've been a California corporation for 15 years, and within that entity, I draw a salary. I'm a W-2 employee, and my company invoices our clients for any production assignments that we complete under contract. AB5 has been the primary discussion on every project for the last few months with my peers, other vendors, clients, employees. We're all trying to figure out how we comply with the changes and at the same time maintain a viable business. So I'm not providing legal or business advice for your unique situation, but this is my interpretation and where my company stands right now to be compliant with AB5. Henry over at the Pan Law Group put together this fantastic flow chart of the AB5 statute. It's a great visual representation of how the bill flows and where the exemptions fit in. And I just want to throw out a disclaimer from Henry. For a full and accurate reading, one must go to the statute. The flow chart is just a paraphrase guide and is not intended to be a replacement for the full statute. Now, with that said, he's done an excellent job of breaking down the sections of the statute, particularly the exemptions and how it connects and which questions you need to answer and what the results are. So I'm going to run through that in the context of my business as an independent director of photography that owns my own tools and equipment and goes out on location frequently at customer sites to document events, create marketing videos, put together an advertisement. So the big change is this ABC test. The person providing labor is presumed to be an employee and not an independent contractor. And then you advance on to the ABC test. A is the person free from control regarding performance of their work. B is the work being done outside the usual course of your business. And C is the person engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business for the same type of work performed. I work for a corporation and I already pull a salary and I have multiple customers, so I fall under one of the exemptions. So jumping over to the AB5 statute, my business falls under the subsection E. The holding in Dynamex does not apply to a bona fide business-to-business contracting relationship as defined below under the following conditions. So first, just to clarify, the holding in Dynamex is the ABC test, which is the statute 2750.3, section A. So the holding in Dynamex, the ABC test, does not apply to a bona fide business contracting relationship as defined below. And now I'm going to run through each of the items which I have to be a yes to qualify as a bona fide business. The business entity is formed as a sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability company, limited liability partnership, or corporation. I'm a California corporation. So moving on. A, the business service provider is free from your control and direction regarding the performance of the work. Yes. And when we advance on to item K, I'll explain this in greater detail. The business service provider provides services to you rather than your customers. Yes, I enter under a contract with whomever's hired me, and I am a supplier, I'm a vendor. I'm providing one component that gets assembled into a finished media package or video production. The contract with the business service provider is in writing. Yes, at a minimum, every new project, I provide a one-page estimate that breaks down the terms, my rate, out of scope parameters, the date of completion. The business service provider has the required business license or tax registration. Yes. The business service provider is customarily engaged in an independently established business of the same nature of work. Yes. And I've got over 15 years of sales history to back that up. In 2019, we invoiced 47 different customers. Now that's not jobs, that's actual different customers, clients. And in January of 2020, we actually had a good month, but there are 8 different companies invoiced in January. The business service provider actually contracts with other businesses to provide the same or similar services and maintains a clientele without restrictions from you. Absolutely. And I've had contracts presented to me by clients in years past that specify an exclusion or a non-compete. I had one that was super broad. It was a 2-day shoot for a home developer, a housing tract, and they wanted me to agree to not take on any other production business opportunities in residential home construction for 1 year. And I broke out my Sharpie and declined on that line item immediately, and they're actually fine with it. There was no pushback. But that's one of the things. If I enter into an employer-employee relationship, there's a lot more control that I am not willing to release. I'm a small business. I'm not doing this to be an employee. I'm doing this to run my own business. The business service provider advertises and holds itself out to the public for the same services. Yes, website, social media, and now these YouTube videos. The business service provider provides its own tools, vehicles, and equipment to perform the services. Yes. In 2019, I had 2 business trucks, and I have to reinvest in new gear, $50,000 to $100,000 approximately per calendar year to stay competitive and relevant and stay one step ahead of my competitors and make the right agile decisions to value add for my clients. So for the next one, I'm going to pull this language right out of my operating contract. So item K, consistent with the nature of work, the business service provider can set its own hours and location of work. True. WMG, which is my company, sets its own operating hours and its principal place of business is Laguna Niguel, California. The nature of WMG services is time-sensitive in nature, such that there is a deadline or window of time in which WMG services must be performed. WMG services may also require shooting at a specific location dictated by the nature of the work. The business service provider is not performing the type of work of which a license from the contractor's state licensing board is required. That is true. If it's a yes to all of those questions, you then move on to the Borello factors. And it's important to understand that the Borello factors are not absolute. It's a weighted decision based on how many of the criteria are true. And I'm going to end the breakdown there, but you can refer to them in the flowchart or please find them from other sources. All right, I'm going to end you with the paragraph that's in my new contract for 2020, which explains my position as a vendor and not an employee. Winters Media Group, a California corporation, is a media production business providing location-based camera and lighting services to its customers. WMG utilizes its employees to coordinate, maintain, deliver, and operate its tools and equipment at customer locations. For each customer project, WMG provides a scope of work contract which includes services provided with a deadline or event date and pricing. WMG carries full comprehensive insurance and compensates its salaried employees with benefits including retirement and insurance. WMG pays all taxes for their employees included but not limited to payroll taxes, workers' compensation, Social Security, unemployment, and disability insurance. Within the scope of Assembly Bill 5, WMG operates as a business service provider under California Labor Code Section 2750.3 subsection E, and it is therefore exempt from the ABC test. So I'm halfway through the first week of February 2020. I've got 3 shoot days this week. 1 is in the can. I've got a weekend event coming up, and I'm feeling really good. It was stressful in October, November, December, January. I had several projects lean out, less crew, projects go on hold while this AB5 thing is figured out. But I feel like long term, I'm in a solid position and many of my peers, competitors, and other vendors are very strong as well because we've complied with the laws up to this point. We're incorporated, we carry insurance, we're paying our payroll taxes. The services I provide, it's not an employee-employer relationship. I early on in my career, right out of college, I had a staff job. And it was right for me at that point in time, but ultimately I like being an entrepreneur and I am highly selective with the work I take, and that's why I do what I do, and that's why most of us in the creative space choose to be our own entity. So Be careful with all of the info out there in social media. There seems to be a lot of heated misinformation. Definitely do your own research, consult professionals for your situation. This is my company mascot, Jeff. He needs dinner. It's been a long day. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I wish you the best of luck. And if you're a company, you're in a great position to grow because you're already complying with AB5. Thanks for watching.